Shaking a martini in there?
No, protein shake.
Oh,
Creatine?
martini. 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, but it's 9:50.
Shh. Josh is going to keep his mouth shut for this one. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Into the Deep podcast. I'm joined as always by my good friend Yosh, and I am the other AK guy.
By Andrew the Kurt Locker.
The other AK guy.
Oh god, that was funny. That was
Nope.
really funny. You weren't expecting it this time.
No, I was expecting it. I had my finger on the stop recording button. I was not about to let you get away with that.
I think that should actually be the cold open.
Nope, too late.
You already deleted it? No. No.
Good.
Good. Feed your hate.
Well, before we get into
How you been,
our
bud?
interesting topics, how have you been?
Oh, I asked you first.
I've been good. I've been, kind of in the theme of our episode. Not a whole lot's been happening on my end. I've been just doing the things every day, keeping that routine. Yeah, nothing exciting has happened as far as I could. I went to the zoo on Sunday. Finally got to see the zoo.
Yeah, I saw pictures from your dad on social media.
Yeah, Juliana was very excited to meet Penny. So, Aunt Susan, if you ever listen to this episode, sorry, you're probably getting a bird because she's gonna keep asking
No.
for it.
No. Don't do it. It's a trap. It's a money hole.
Oh, it is. I'm not endorsing it, but yeah, that's probably the most exciting thing that's happened to me since we last talked. Other than that, I've been working out. I've been eating. I've been working a lot. OCI is going fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, no, life has been pretty uneventful on my end as well. We have fall retreat this weekend,
Ooh.
so gotta get stuff in line for that, and then just the same old, trying to maintain a good prayer life, establish a good routine, keep my spaces clean, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I definitely didn't clean my office right before the podcast started.
There's a reason why I only record from the chest up.
We're all grateful for that.
That implies something much worse now that I think about it.
It does, and that's why I thought you were going with it. But I will say, you're looking good. I know you've been hitting the gym really hard, been being real strict with the diet, but you're looking good, man.
Thanks. Yeah, we went to the Renaissance Fair, and that was fun. So
I thought we recorded since then.
I don't remember.
I don't know. If we've already mentioned it, yeah, we went to the Ren Fair. Our friend Mary Grace came up. Josh dressed up this year. We forced Brendan to wear a cloak so he could fit in. It was one of the times of all time.
Mary Grace, if you're listening to this, move to Michigan.
Yes. You will move to Michigan. You will move to Michigan. I already bullied Josh and Brendan. I can get a third.
You really didn't have to bully me that hard.
Shh. Anyway, yeah, that's probably our shortest catch up ever.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot is going on right now in life. I mean, it's like one of those things like, nobody's dying in my family. No cars are getting stolen.
It made great content, though. It made great content.
Did it? I don't feel like many people watched that one.
A lot of people asked me about it. They said, "Did Josh's car really get stolen?" It's like, yep.
Analytics, man. We need to watch the analytics. Oh yeah, big thing is we're trying to get more content out.
Yes, yeah. Let's talk about that for like 2 minutes.
So the big thing is I'm trying to at least get some kind of daily post going. So a lot of it's been like scripture reflections, but I'm even thinking more beyond that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to fit within that scope of like living a deeper, more meaningful life. Um, and so there's that, and then I'm thinking about just doing like,
Your weekly vlog rant.
yeah, I was thinking Tuesday car talk with Josh,
Ooh, I like it.
and so I'm just gonna talk about something for like 10 minutes or so, and rant for 10 minutes on a Tuesday. So I'm just gonna start recording those. Um,
I dig
so
it. Yeah, and I've been really like the as far as the blog goes, I've been really enjoying doing the writing. Um, I got some pretty
yeah,
positive
our
feedback.
content styles are very different. You're very much like a, I have a vision, and I'm like honestly, I have a thought and I just want to share it with people.
You
I
have
can't.
you have I want to just let it all out in one go, and I want to curate this, I want to craft this, take the time. Uh but yeah, so I'll be trying to get, so the podcast will probably remain at, the twice a month or every other week vibe. Um just because that requires both of us with our schedules, but you should be looking for more frequent posts from Josh with the daily-ish reflection, sometimes more than once a day. Um, and then I'm going to try to get at least a blog post or a quick fire catechesis up every week on top of that. So just trying to give more of our digital footprint out there, help the algorithm know that we exist.
And hopefully we can find some type of AI clip farming, to where we can start making some good clips out of the funny bits on the podcast.
All three of them.
Hey, I'm at least a funny bit just looking at my face.
That was my joke.
Yeah,
Uh,
well,
but all
age
right.
before beauty.
Oh, I will say, yesterday at OCIA, Sarah's kid was there because she always brings her kid with her, and she was asking me how old I am. I said, "Well, how old do you think I am?" Which I've learned is never the question you ask children, because she said I'm 45 probably.
That's crazy.
But but that sting is, I always can take a little sting out of it, because however old they say I am, Miriam's 1 year older than me.
Yeah, so but also like you have a mortgage, you're married,
I
you
all of
know,
these things are
you've
true.
had multiple you've had multiple job transitions, you're in your World War II era. You could be a 45-year-old man. I could see it.
Yeah, smoking meat and learning military history. I'm pretty much there.
Pretty much a 45-year-old man. You own a podcast, you podcast.
I do podcast on top of it. I've gotten
Yeah,
worse at video
sounds.
games, and I have less time for it.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see that they're not going to come out with a Helldivers 3?
I did not. I haven't followed Helldivers since they had the Sony scandal. I know people like, I know I've been following like little bits and pieces, like when it got popular again, but after that I haven't touched it since then.
They're getting ready to release a fourth faction.
Cool. I just bought a game called Mega Bonk for $8, and it's just mind rot. But Battlefield 6 does come out in 2 weeks.
6, 7.
Battlefield 6 comes out in 2 weeks, and of course, release date is when I'm on my silent retreat.
Where are you going on a silent retreat?
St. Paul the Cross. It's silent being used loosely, because we'll be talking at meal times, but like even when it's a quiet retreat. How about that? Because when we're not at like the talks and at meals, we're supposed to be maintaining a spirit of quietness and prayerfulness, but we'll still be able to.
Who's hosting this? It sounds interesting.
Oh, we have it every year. It's the St. Paul the Cross. That's their retreat that they have every year. It's their men's retreat. I don't know. I think the women's retreat is the same theme. Um, but they have a retreat every year. This year is navigating troubled waters, I think. But St. Mary's goes every year. I went last year. It was awesome. Like super, super healing, super amazing. And this year, going again with the guys. I think we have 28 people coming from St. Mary's, so pretty good number.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I wish we had something like that around here
It's a good time.
next year. Next year. Yeah, I want to get on silent retreat. Anyways,
Yeah. So
enough about all the cool and exciting and fun stuff we're doing. Let's talk about how you can be more boring.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you kind of take point on this one because you were the one who came. When you mentioned this topic, I was like, that seems counterintuitive. But you kind of gave me like you gave me a little teaser on it, and it made sense. So why don't you introduce the topic in its fullness?
So over the summer, I attended a leadership conference webinar. It was like a 2-day like webinar where like we gathered a bunch of people from our diocese together at one parish and talked about, hey, let's sit down and discuss leadership and how to be better leaders and things like that. And it was a Protestant mega church that was filming all the things. And one of the first presenters, he is the pastor at a church called Life Church. They're the same church that produces the Bible app.
Okay.
And so he started talking about this idea of what he coined as boring leadership. Right. And I'm sure he's not the first person to come up with this idea, but he's the first one that kind of brought it to my mind. And it's kind of been lingering and sitting there. But this idea that everybody wants to be the leader doing the big, exciting things, right? Making these big changes, things like that in the world.
Everyone wants to be General Patton.
Everybody wants to be General Patton. Everybody wants to be George Washington. Everybody wants to be, insert any leader who's done anything amazing to change the world around them. But no, what nobody wants to do is the hard work of getting to that point, which requires a lot of. Is that? I couldn't tell if that was a real pipe. It looked like a computer-generated pipe because it came in so crisp.
No, it's that heritage pipe that I got before. I would have grabbed my corn cob pipe to be Patton, but it's over.
Yeah. Anyways, nobody wants to do the things that are required to get there, which is the boring parts, right? Everybody's like, oh, I want to, like, and you can apply it to any. I want to be somebody who's extremely physically fit, is also reading 100 pages a day, is doing this, that, or whatever. Okay, are you willing to do the boring parts of that? Going to bed on time, brushing your teeth, like waking up early,
I'm feeling really
meal
called out
prep,
right now.
meal prepping. No, but we all should, right? Right, meal prepping. Like, are we willing to do the parts, right? Like, I want to be a great husband and father. Okay. Are you willing to do the boring stuff of going to your job every day to make money to provide for your kids? So he used this analogy of like the small habits leading to the big changes in life. So he used this analogy, which it's definitely a slippery slope fallacy, but he said one of the boring habits he has is brushing his teeth every day, which
Okay.
like we should all do. Um, and so he talked about like, oh, it's very easy. Like, I brush my teeth every day, which leads to this next habit, which leads to this next habit. It's this concept of like habit linking.
Yeah, yeah. If you're able to do one thing consistently, you're able to. It makes it easier to do other things consistently and add on to that.
Well, but also like this idea that like, okay, before I go to bed every night, I pray with Megan. So my brain begins to associate praying with Megan with bedtime,
Hmm.
right? So if I consistently do those things, right? So another thing that people don't think about. Okay, right after I brush my teeth, I always read my Bible.
Okay.
Now my brain has linked this habit of brushing my teeth with reading my Bible.
We're Pavloving ourselves.
Yes, in essence, right? But it's these boring, faithful habits, right? Now, if I forget to brush my teeth, I don't read my Bible. If I don't read my Bible, then I'm probably not going to be on top of my game. If I'm not on top of my game, maybe I run a red light and hit somebody. If I run a red light and hit somebody, I might have a cop come. If I have a cop come, I might punch them because I didn't read my Bible, and now I'm going to jail. This
So
was the
brush your
slippery
teeth,
slope we took
kids.
people down. So brush your teeth, kids, right? But this was the slippery slope he went down, and it really prompted me to have this thought of like, do I just want to do the big exciting things or am I faithful in the small things, right? I mean, there's the principle, right, that's found in scripture of like he who's faithful in small matters will be entrusted with big things, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm trying to remember the quote because I know
Yeah,
I just flipped that.
you got like eighty
But
percent of it there. I know the one you're talking about.
and so it's also true like in leadership, right? We want to lead people. Are we faithful to our commitments, right? Do I set aside time each day to check in with the people that are on my team? Not really exciting. Super boring sometimes. faithfulness, right? Um, do I make time each day to, go through my emails, check my voicemails, and respond to them in a timely manner? Not super exciting. Personally, I hate emails. I hate those kind of things. But they make me a better leader because I'm able to better respond to the needs of my people. Right? I remember we were walking back from being on campus one day, and Anna, our director of campus ministry, she asked us a question to both me and Father Corey. And I said, I want to be a boring campus minister this year. Now, had my senior pastor heard that, my senior pastor would go, I'm sorry, what? Um, but I wanted to be a faithful campus minister. I wanted to be a person that the students felt like they could come to and trust because I had been faithful in the things in which they hadn't trusted me to in the past. That they knew that I was a solid person and that I was always going to tell them the things they wanted to hear, not I was always going to tell them the things they needed to hear, not the things that they wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, I had to be in some ways boring. I didn't need to be the campus minister that was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, moving from one fire to the next.
Yeah.
I needed to be stable. I needed to be, this is where you're going to find me. These are the things I'm committed to,
Mm-hmm.
right? And especially, I think this is true, like in modeling leadership, right? Like a lot of my job involves modeling for our students what it means to be on mission, right? So, like, I have to model for them what it looks like to be a missionary disciple and to pray. They need to see me praying,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or they need to hear me talking about prayer and see the fruits of it in my life. You know, I need to show them what it's like to be attentive to somebody, right? To do the boring thing of not like fidgeting with something or not doing this or that, right? And a lot of these habits I'm still not very good at, right? Like I probably don't take enough time during the day to just stop and go and sit in the chapel, even though he's right across from me when students are walking by. And I shouldn't do it just because students are walking by. I should do it because I want to go spend time with Jesus and I have nothing else going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel that struggle as well, as far as the making sure that the leading by example, not doing not just like I'm going to do these big glamorous things, but how am I showing that I can do the small things well and I can do them consistently? And I think I'm finally starting to see that, seeing some fruit with that. Like, um, for example, yesterday I've been trying to do more work with the altar servers, for literally since I started this job. And anytime there's been a training of some sort, usually it ends up being I'm there. Father David does 85-90% of the talking, which is fine. It's his place. He's the pastor. But I feel like, why am I here? But yesterday, he had me lead over half of it. He had me like lead a lot of the stuff for our fourth grade servers who want to help out with mass. And I asked Deacon Mike about it. I said, has something happened to him? Like, what's going on? He said, I've just noticed that he's been leaning on you a lot more. He's been noticing that you're doing the things right. When he asks you to do something, it gets done before he even, like, way well before the timeline. You're there more. I notice your presence there more, and I think he's noticing it too. Like,
Mm.
if I knew if I had known that's all it took, I would be there constantly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think there is this element, right, in our culture that we want to move to the next big exciting thing, right? Like, and there's some extent of like, I think that's true with like, nobody wants to put in the hard work of going to the gym every day, but everybody wants the results of the gym. Nobody wants to put in the hard work of praying every day, but everybody wants to be a saint or at least achieve what sanctity offers them, which is life with Christ. And I think we as a culture have a problem with this idea of I don't want to be boring. And I'm like, no, you should be. Right? You should be to the extent that like not boring as in you're a dullard, right? Um C.S. Lewis, he wrote a quote one time. I think this is in Mere Christianity. I could be wrong. It might be in a different book.
I won't be able to tell you if you're
Um,
wrong.
No, it's not in mere Christianity. It's in the abolition of man. He says we should be serious people, but we should not take ourselves seriously.
I have the second part of that down really well.
Right, but like we should be serious, right? We should be like, no, this is important, right? And I'm going to do
Yeah,
this every day, even though it doesn't look flashy. But then we should also be jovial and make time for enjoyment of our lives, right?
yeah, yeah. So like, we could say being boring is almost clickbaity in the sense of like we like to be boring is to be faithful, to do the small things that no one wants to do, but are necessary, and not folk. And I think the other thing about leadership as a quote boring, at the end of the day, it's got to be about everyone else. As a leader, you can't be if you the minute you start making it about me and what I want, not what's going to be the best for the people that I'm leading. Really, to be what are the people I'm serving through my leadership. That's when we start losing the aspect of what it means to be a good leader.
Yeah. And I think this is something that like everyone needs to learn, and it's why I wanted to talk about this because I also kind of wanted to process some of like boring habits I want to take on and just put them out in the air and maybe talk about like some boring habits you want to take on
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that'll help us fill up some time.
What? Although we're making pretty good
But I
time
don't
already.
know. What?
We're
Yeah, I
making
don't
pretty
know
good time.
what time we're at.
We're at 20 minutes.
Okay. I think if we can get to 40 minutes, we'll be good. Um, One of the things I've been thinking about lately is just trying to make more time for students to see me praying because of the modeling aspect of it.
Yeah, it's not
But
as
also,
not as a pride thing, just because you think that it's something you need to work on, but also it'll be good for them. Like it's a twofold.
Mhm, mhm. So I've been contemplating like, okay, what does that look like, right? And really establishing like a very regimented schedule. Like, nope, every day at 3 p.m. I don't care what I'm doing. At least 30 minutes of time is blocked off to go and sit in the chapel and pray. Right? Like very, very boring, right? Like I'm not going to be doing anything exciting. And this is not necessarily prayer for myself. This is prayer for the ministry, right? So it'll mostly be interceding for the ministry, right? The other thing I thought was like, I really feel like, the Lord has been, and it's something I still need to work on what this looks like, right? But in some way, shape, or form, like locking down my iPhone
Mm-hmm.
during my work hours, right? They make devices for those kind of things, but just like, nope, I want to be diligent in my work, right? When I'm not working, I want to be praying or talking to a student or setting up my next set of meetings or preparing for my next set of meetings, right?
When you're at
Like if
work,
I'm
you want
not
to be
doing,
working.
yeah, right. And it seems so boring. It's like, oh, don't you want to, check social media or do
Don't
this or that?
don't
I'm
you want
like,
to check
yeah,
in with your best friend and see how our fantasy football is doing and how we're 4-0 this season?
yeah. But you know what I mean? Those kind of
Mm-hmm.
things.
No,
In some
that's a
ways,
really
like
good
I
goal.
want to, yeah, in some ways I want to a habit that I feel like I have dropped off on that a lot of people, especially outside the Catholic realm, would describe as boring is I want to get back into praying the rosary. Right? Like every day. Like the monotony of the rosary. Why? Well, because it's in the ordinary that we encounter God, right? It's in the boring things that we encounter God. So those kind of things, right? Like I feel like I've been really good about like, oh, I'm trying to, go to the gym at least a few times a week. I've been, trying to eat cleaner. I've been doing these things and this things. And it's like, I want to get better about like keeping my spaces clean, right? Like, you know, when I'm done cooking food, just immediately wash the dishes. You know, when the laundry is done, immediately fold the laundry. Um, because I do think those things matter. And it's also like, you know, it's this idea of like building up, because like one day I hope to be married to my girlfriend. This idea that like I need to learn those habits now, right?
Right?
Even with a
You
year or more out from that potential.
Yeah, you need to learn those habits now, so that way your marriage lasts more than a month. With you with a knife in your neck.
Yeah,
these
probably.
these are things that but no, such a great mindset to have, and it's wild when I think about like my 4-year anniversary is tomorrow, and
What?
I think about how I have had to change my habits, and I still have to. I'm still working on it. after 4 years. I'm gonna have to do it for the rest of my life. But it's changing the habits that I have to be more faithful to my wife, as far as in the little things, like, hey, remember to close cupboards. It's one of her biggest pet peeves. I leave cupboards open all the time. I've gotten better, but I still do it. Um, folding the clothes when when it's my, it's my, when she does the laundry, I need to fold the clothes. Just being faithful in all these little ways that, as a single person, I never really cared about because I lived at home. If my parents needed me to do something, they'd tell me to do it. But learning to be proactive with my chores, being proactive with taking care of things around the house, being proactive with surprising, and being like, hey, I thought about you, so when I was at the store, I got you this, I got you these flowers, or I got you this little bit thing of candy, like, just. And that's the habit that I'm trying to, being proactive, just like seeing a need and taking care of it, rather than waiting for someone to ask me to. And that's a great, and I think that's a habit I'm trying to work on, not just at home but at work as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
seeing a need and saying, "Hey, Father David, I see this problem. Can I do this? Is it like, do you have like, this is my solution for it? Can I take care of this?" And most of the time, he gives me like a like okay, or we'll talk about it. But I like the energy with it. Let's workshop it. And that's something that I've really been trying to work on, seeing needs and taking care of them before I'm asked. And I'm not great at it, but I'm working on it.
Mm. Yeah. What would you say are like some other? I feel like I'm in a one-on-one right now with one of my students because these are the questions that I would ask them. And so, like, what would you say are some other like habits or things you want to cultivate in this idea of like maybe boring habits or just things that like people don't imagine like a good leader doing, but you're like, I should really cultivate this to be a better leader.
The two things that I want to work on. First one is the being available, and I've actually started working on a plan for it. I'm trying to set up a calendar on the website, so that when people want to sign up for OCIC, OCIA, anything that's under my purview, and they need to have a meeting with me, having like a calendar, like a meet me calendar, like having office hours, people like schedule appointments with me.
Have you
Um,
ever heard of Calendly?
yeah, it's just getting it set up with our website and figuring out how to get that pulled together.
I think you have to pay. I think you have to pay for website integration, but I always just send people an email with the link
Yeah,
because also I don't want random people. I don't want everyone to have access to it. I only want the few people that I.
that's fair. But yeah, it's something like that, because that's something that, like I said, I have been trying to be more present around the parish and around the school, the high school. I'm around all the time because I hang out with I get lunch with Miriam. Been subbing again. The kids know me. Even kids that I don't know me. It's really weird. Um, but especially at the parish, making sure like my presence is known. Like, hey, I'm a staple here. I am available when you need me for things. This is where I'll be. Stuff like that. So that's one thing I really want to cultivate, this idea of being available and making sure people have access to me who need to have access. 1 second, bug. Um, the other one that's more, I think, is more important, and it's some like my prayer life. It's getting better, but there's something about individual prayer that I have been really wanting to work on. Miriam and I have made it to over 100 days of praying together every single night. It's been great. Love it. And that's not boring. That's actually, like, I really love our conversations because it doesn't feel forced. It feels like we're just talking, like we just read something. A lot of the times our reads are, we go look at it, like, what did we just read? Or I feel like God has a sense of humor for X, Y. It's like that's what a lot of it ends up being. But my favorite part of it is the end, where we pray, where like we talk about our intentions, like what's on our heart, what we want to pray for. And I feel like God is calling me to, like, hey, why can't you do this on your own too? Like, obviously it's good to be able to talk to Miriam about it and hear what's on her heart, and I love that. But when I'm talking, when I'm doing it, it's like, I do the same six or seven things every night, plus one or two things that, and based on what happened during the day. And I feel like God is calling me to be more intentional. Like, why can't you do that on your own time also? If you care,
Mm-hmm.
if these things, like, like I pray for, I pray for everyone doing the Unsub Fitness Challenge. I'm praying for my mom and her health. I've been praying for you and everything that you like, all the changes that are going on in your life, like all these things. Like that's great that you're praying for these things. Why can't you do that on your own time too? If you care
Mhm.
about these people, why are you only doing it once a day with your wife in a scheduled way? Again, it's not a bad thing that I'm doing it. It's boring. It's consistent. It's good.
Mhm.
It's like, but you should be able to do that on your own too, if these are stuff that's really on your heart. And that's what I'm trying to like. Again, my office is right underneath the chapel. My office is right upstairs from the other chapel. Like I could just go and do that, and I just don't do it.
So something that Anna, our director of campus ministry, pointed out to me one time was like, and I'm trying to trying to do things at my job. I feel like I'm contributing to the betterment of the parish, betterment of the students. And I said, Anna, what should I be doing when I don't have an event I'm planning for, and I don't have, right? Because like I can plan something like that, like right, like we've got game day mass coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in charge of planning the games. That'll take me all of like 4 hours to plan. Um, and I'm like, so what should I be doing in that interim time when I don't have meetings? I've prepared for all of my meetings, and she's like, pray. It's like realistically, like no, I probably could like just start cracking open scripture and reading scripture more, like reading into the catechism, right? Like actually, like it's like one of those things. It's like, and some people be like, well, that doesn't sound like work, right? If you're like at your office and you're reading a book, and I'm like, I'm still available, right?
Yeah,
And I'm modeling for my students what good discipleship should look like, and it's not super flashy, right? Like, yeah, there's probably things like, right, okay, as I develop my schedule more, I want to get on campus more. I want to do more outreach on campus. Okay, that's going to start looking like this, right? Like, you know, all those kind of things. But it's really like, okay, in those moments where there's not something big and flashy on, what's a boring thing I can do, right? Like I was thinking of another thing, like washing the dishes, right? Mother Teresa, I think it was Mother Teresa. It's either Mother Teresa or Saint Therese of Lisieux. They said, wash the dishes not for the sake of the dishes, but for the sake of the person who will use them next.
I like that.
Right? And that's something I'm constantly coming back to, right? Like, I think it was Mother Teresa that said that, and then Saint Therese of Lisieux was like, would be like offering up the washing of the dishes if Jesus was the next person to eat off the dish. It's like, okay, right? Like, to have that level of like, okay, I'm gonna do these things, right? And it's not just boring, like, okay, right? Like, I gotta go do this thing. But if you do the thing half-heartedly,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been better for you just not to do the thing at all. It's like the boring with excellence part, I think, is also fundamentally important, right? Like, I'm gonna be exceptionally boring.
I'm gonna be exceptionally good at doing the most mundane things.
Yes. Right? Like, I'm gonna be exceptional at loving my wife.
This seems like, like doing little things with extraordinary love. Like it. That's a really good. It's a really good way we should live our life. I hope no one's patented that.
Yeah, maybe we can make it into a t-shirt.
Hmm.
Anyways, so I don't know. That's kind of what I got. That's kind of where the thoughts and the feelings and the hopes and the desires were. I don't know what time we're at, but
We're a little over a half hour, but yeah, and I think we started this talking about leadership. I think we'll probably redefine the episodes like be more boring, just like in life in general. Um, but yeah, like the only thing I kind of want to touch on is like our praise, our worship of God is in the everyday,
mm,
and I think that that is something that I forget frequently because I think about all the big things. We have when we ever have like the big feast days. We have Christmas, Easter Vigil, all these things, and that those are obviously important. Those are the big things that we look to. But it's how am I making the most of my day? Because I know like I doom scroll a lot on TikTok. Um, but it's
ordinary time, babies.
yep.
Ordinary time.
There's a So some dashing intellectual wrote a great thing on a blog how ordinary time isn't ordinary. Um, Check our website. Uh, but yeah, yeah, we're in ordinary time. How are we making the most of it? Advent's coming up. How are Advent is a time for preparation. How are we preparing to prepare? Because the habits that we develop now are things that we can take into Advent to get ready for Jesus coming into the world.
Well, it's about making it's about sanctifying our ordinary lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
I live this ordinary life. I want to make it holy, right? That's the goal. So
It's taking our ordinary life and going a little bit deeper with it. Would you say?
some might say that.
Maybe cast out into the deep.
Perhaps one might say such things.
It's definitely a shorter episode, but I think it's okay. I think we've gotten our point across.
Yeah. So how are you going deeper, Andrew?
I'm going deeper because I'm learning how to interact with children. Um, I have
Explain.
I am helping with OCIC this year. I'm taking on the middle school kids, and there's gonna be about 9 to 10 of them, and it's a lot of change because, like, when I talk about Jesus, I have so much that I want to say, and it all comes out up here, and I need to be able to bring it down to here.
Not out there, yeah.
And it's very hard for me. So I'm like, I've been reading through the book. I've been like talking to Leslie, who's our DRE, and be like, hey, because she's handling like the really young kids, like the elementary kids who are going through it. It's like how can I take what I have and all the love that I have for Jesus and make it so they understand it? Because what everything I've gone through, everything I know, it's just not going to relate to them in any way that matters. So it's learning how to love Jesus in a way that is understandable to someone who doesn't know him at all. It's like trying to explain to someone like all the things I love about Miriam, but around someone who's never met her and who is half her age and doesn't understand why I love the fact that she loves
Doesn't
Taylor
really know
Swift.
what love is.
Yeah, like all these things. Like, how do I do that? So it's learning how to teach down without losing the meaning.
Yeah.
So that's been a real challenge for me, but I'm working on it and I'm very excited about it.
Nice.
How about you? What have you been going deeper?
Mhm. I've been really trying to get like a daily holy hour in, right? Which is something that should be like usually I get at least like 30 minutes in, but like really trying to like, okay, right? Like and figuring out what that looks like, right? Like and also just incorporating more time for silence in that, right? So like usually it's like at this point it's like 30 minutes of me talking, 30 minutes of trying to listen, and I'm trying to shift it back more and more to like 20/40, 10/50.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I want to get to the point where it's like I talk for as little as possible, right? Like I come in with some type of meditation, I talk to the Lord about it, and then I'm just listening to what he wants. And that's going to be years long process, but
Yeah, we hate silence as people, especially you and I, because we enjoy talking.
yep.
Hence why we made a
So
podcast.
that's why we made a podcast. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
So
this
yeah,
has been fun.
yeah, I enjoyed that. So everyone listening, thank you for listening. Keep in mind, check our Instagram and our Facebook. Check the website. We'll be, like I said, we'll be doing more posting. Josh's daily reflections. That's gonna be pretty much on Instagram and Facebook only, though. So make sure you're following us
And
on
it's
those things.
Thread.
Oh, and Threads too. I forgot we're using that too.
Yep. I'd
You're
like to.
using that.
I got to figure out how to get things on Twitter. I'm working on the Twitter.
But yeah, so keep an eye out for social media. We'll be doing more posting on that type of stuff. We'll be having more content in general churning out. Um, Please like, comment, subscribe, especially comment. We love to hear from you. What you liked about the episode, what you hated about the episode. We get a lot of I get occasional DMs from people, but like put it out there. Um,
Please.
please. Yeah. Don't
Twitter
forget that
needs the validation.
my fragile ego requires it. Yeah. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and thank you so much for listening to our talk on being boring. Peace and blessings.
Bye.